2 days before he died, Hulk Hogan was singing karaoke, laughing with friends, and being called phenomenal by his longtime manager. Just 48 hours later, he was gone. No warning, no signs of slowing down, just an emergency call and the shocking announcement that the wrestling icon had passed at 71. Fans were stunned. How could someone who seemed perfectly fine suddenly vanish without a trace of illness? And now, as the official cause of death is revealed, people are starting to ask questions. Was there more to Hogan's final days than we were told? Or was the world simply fooled by a public image that didn't reflect the pain he was hiding? Because behind the bandanas, the sunglasses, and the iconic "what you gonna do," there may have been a truth no one wanted to face. And once you hear the full story, you'll understand why so many fans feel like they were lied to. On the night of July 22nd, just 2 days before everything changed, Hulk Hogan was doing what he loved, hosting karaoke night at his restaurant, Hogan's Hangout in Clearwater, Florida. His former manager, Jimmy Hart, posted online saying Hulk was doing phenomenal, and fans who saw him that night said he was full of energy, smiling, and seemed unstoppable. No one, not the fans, not the people closest to him, suspected what was about to happen. Then, on the morning of July 24th, a 911 call came from Hogan's home. The emergency? Cardiac arrest. First responders rushed to the scene, and moments later, he was transported to Morton Plant Hospital. But it was too late. The man who once dominated wrestling arenas around the world was pronounced dead, just like that. By that afternoon, news outlets were flooded with headlines. Hulk Hogan dead at 71. Fans around the globe were left in disbelief. How could this happen so suddenly? But the shock only deepened when the cause of death was officially confirmed, because what the documents revealed didn't quite match the public image Hogan had shown just days earlier. Nearly a week after Hogan's sudden passing, the official documents finally surfaced, and they confirmed what many feared but weren't ready to believe. Hulk Hogan's cause of death was listed as acute myocardial infarction. In simple terms, a massive heart attack. But that wasn't all. The same medical documents, obtained by Page Six, also revealed something most fans never knew. Hogan had a history of chronic lymphocytic leukemia, a slow-growing form of blood cancer. It was a quiet battle, one that had never been publicly discussed, and it sent shockwaves through the wrestling community. How could someone who was being called phenomenal just 2 days earlier have been living with cancer? Was this a hidden fight behind the scenes or something even more complicated? Because now the timeline wasn't just confusing, it was suspicious. Fans were left wondering, if Hogan had a history of leukemia and had suffered a heart attack, why was the world told there was no reason to panic just weeks earlier? The contradictions were piling up fast, and it wouldn't take long before the rumors started swirling all over again. Long before the heart attack, whispers had already started. Back in June, just a month before his death, rumors exploded online that Hulk Hogan was on his deathbed. Fans speculated something was seriously wrong after reports surfaced about him undergoing neck fusion surgery, yet his team rushed to shut it all down. A rep told news there was no reason to panic. They said Hogan was recovering well, that the surgery had been successful, and that his ongoing back problems were under control. And for a moment, that was enough to calm the storm. But now, looking back, was that statement just damage control? Because what no one mentioned, not the reps, not the media, was that Hogan was also battling chronic leukemia. It was never public knowledge. Not once had Hogan or his team opened up about the diagnosis. It makes you wonder, how much pain was he really in behind closed doors? Was the legendary strongman of wrestling keeping his battles private to protect his image? Or was there something deeper going on, something that fans were never meant to see? And as rumors about a cover-up begin to spread again, the questions only grow louder. To understand how Hulk Hogan's story ended the way it did, you have to look at the wear and tear that came long before that final heart attack. Because while Hogan looked like a superhero in the ring, his real-life body had been through absolute war. In a 2024 interview on Jake Paul's Impulsive podcast, Hogan himself laid it all out. And what he said was jaw-dropping. I've had like 25 surgeries in the last 10 years, where he admitted. I've had 10 back surgeries, both knees and both hips replaced, shoulders, everything. Decades of body slams, leg drops, and brutal matches didn't just give him fame, they destroyed him from the inside out. At one point, Hogan could barely walk. He was constantly in and out of hospitals, struggling with pain that most of us couldn't imagine. And even when he smiled for the cameras or cracked jokes at karaoke nights, his body was still breaking down. Neck surgeries, spinal fusions, bone grinding against bone. It was all part of his daily reality. But you'd never know it from the outside, because that's who Hulk Hogan was: a fighter, a showman, a man who pushed through the pain no matter the cost. But sometimes even legends have limits. And what happened next would leave fans speechless, not just because of the loss, but because of how the world reacted. As soon as news of Hulk Hogan's death broke, the internet lit up, and not just with grief. There was mourning, of course. Thousands of fans flooded comment sections with memories of their childhood hero, of the man who told them to say your prayers and eat your vitamins. WWE legends posted tributes. Fellow wrestlers shared old photos, and hashtags like RIP Hogan began trending worldwide. But right alongside the sadness came suspicion. How was he fine 2 days ago? One fan tweeted. Why weren't we told about the leukemia? Another wrote. Reddit threads started piling up with theories, some asking if the people around Hogan had downplayed his condition, others wondering if he was pushed too hard after his last surgery. TikTok clips comparing his energetic karaoke appearance on July 22nd to the 911 call just 48 hours later racked up millions of views. The contrast was jarring, and it sparked a whole new conversation. Not just about Hogan's death, but about how public figures mask their pain until it's too late. Some fans blamed the media for only showing the highlight reel. Others criticized those close to Hogan for keeping things quiet. And then there were those who just felt betrayed. They didn't want to believe it. Because if Hulk Hogan, one of the strongest, loudest, most indestructible stars in the world, could be suffering in silence, what else didn't we know? In the wake of the chaos, speculation, and heartbreak, one thing remained constant. Those closest to Hulk Hogan described him not as a superstar, but as a human being. Shortly after his passing on July 24th, his managers released a statement that cut through the noise. "We are heartbroken, though," they said. "He was such a great human being and friend." It was short, simple. But behind those few words was the weight of losing someone they had known, not just in the ring, but through decades of pain, recovery, and resilience. As for his family, his wife Sky Daly, whom Hogan had only recently married in 2023, has stayed silent publicly. So have his children, Brooke and Nick Hogan, who've yet to issue any official statements. And maybe that silence says more than any press release ever could. Because while fans are still grappling with what happened, Hogan's inner circle is mourning a very different version of him. The dad, the husband, the friend behind the sunglasses and ripped tank tops. It's a reminder that no matter how big someone becomes on screen, behind the fame, they're still just flesh and blood, still vulnerable, still breakable. And when that realization hit fans, really hit them, it made the loss feel even heavier. So what really happened to Hulk Hogan? Was it just age and wear finally catching up with him? Was it a hidden illness or a lifetime of pain that no longer could be masked? Or was it something deeper? A quiet battle that even those closest to him struggled to accept? Because from the outside, Hogan looked like he had it all together. Still smiling, still joking, still showing up for fans. But the truth is, his body had been waving the white flag for years. The surgeries, the chronic pain, the hidden cancer diagnosis. They were all signs. Signs that the man once known for unmatched strength had been fighting an invisible war. Not in the ring this time, but within himself. And maybe the real tragedy here isn't just that Hulk Hogan died. Maybe it's that no one really saw it coming, even though in hindsight the signs were there all along. For fans, it's a bitter pill to swallow. The man who once seemed immortal was in the end just as human as the rest of us. But maybe that's also the most important reminder, that behind every celebrity headline, every upbeat social media post, Every karaoke night and handshake, there could be a story no one else sees. And when that final bell rings, sometimes the silence that follows says it all.